The Story of the King and the Witches. Once upon a time, there was a king. He was a good hunter. One day, he went into the forest to hunt and lost his way. For a long time, the king moved about, but he could not find his way out. Suddenly, he saw a cottage. He went to the cottage and knocked at the door. An old woman came to the door. "How can I help you?" she asked the king. The king said to the elderly woman, "I have lost my way. Can you show me the way back to my palace?" "I will show you the way back to your palace, but first, you must promise me to marry my beautiful daughter," said the old woman to the king. Then the king thought to himself, "My wife is dead, so I can marry again." He then said to the old woman, "All right, I promise to marry your daughter, please show me the way." Then the old woman showed him the way, and the king went back to his palace with the beautiful daughter. There he made her his wife. The king had a son and daughter from his first wife. The king thought to himself, "The stepmother will not be kind to the children. So, I shall take them to the castle, and they will be safe there." The king looked them there. He asked his faithful servant to look after them. He loved his children very much, and visited them very often. One day the queen asked her maid-servant, "Where does the king go so often?" "He goes to see his son and daughter." "They live in a castle," said the maid-servant to the queen. After hearing this, the queen was very angry, and said, "I will change his son into a crow." One day the king went out hunting. The queen thought, "I must go to the castle today." She took some magic powder. Soon she came to the castle. In the garden of the castle, she saw her stepson. He was playing there. She called him and threw the powder on him. At once, he turned into a crow and flew away. After some time, the sister came into the garden to look for her brother. But the sister could not find his brother anywhere. Suddenly she saw a crow in front of her. "Dear sister," said the crow, "our stepmother has turned me into a crow. Ask father to kill her. Then I will become a boy once again." The king came to see his children. He saw only his daughter there. Then he asked her daughter, "Where is your brother?" "Our stepmother has turned him into a crow," she said. "You must kill our stepmother. Then the crow will become a boy once again." The king was very angry. He came back to the palace and called his wife. "You have turned my son into a crow," said the king. "I will punish you for this." Saying this, he drew out his sharp sword and struck her, but nothing happened. "You cannot do any harm to me," said the queen, and went away. She must be a witch, the king thought. "I must think of some other way to kill her." Just at that time, the crow came to him and said, "Father, there are 2 parrots in a cage in the cottage of the queen's mother. You must kill those parrots. Then the queen and her mother will die." Both of them are witches. All right, said the king to his son, and he started for the cottage of the old witch in the forest. The king searched for the cottage in the forest for several days. At last, he found it. The old witch was not in her cottage at that time. The king broke open the door and entered the cottage. He killed the parrots in a cage there. He went outside and saw the dead body of the old witch. He then came back home and saw the dead body of the queen near the gate of his palace. Then the king saw his children coming towards him. After seeing his children safe, he felt very happy and entered the palace with them. The king lived happily in his palace ever after.